What's up, everybody? This is the M2 Podcast. I'm your host, Mad Mike. This is the show where we cover gaming industry related news, technology and innovation, esports personalities, and also upcoming games. This week's episode 14, we got a chance to sit down and interview one of our close friends and Twitch streamers and YouTubers. I got a lot of value out of this interview, and I hope you do too. This is pretty much for anybody that enjoys Halo or esports, competitive gaming in general, streaming and content creation, and I believe you should find a lot of value out of this. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and transfer over to the interview. All right, today's guest is a 7-year Twitch streamer, YouTuber, Halo legend, and content creator. He's a proud father and husband, bringing love and good vibes every day to his community. My good friend and Halo partner, please welcome our guest, Nicklas CrazyMiller.
Let's go, dude.
How's it going, Nick? How you doing, man?
This man said Halo legend.
Yeah, man. So how's everything been, brother? Man? How you doing?
Good. I'm doing really good, man. Lately, been just constantly grinding and feeling really good. And as you already know, we secured our spot in South Carolina. So we're moving. We're making some big life goals happen. And making dreams come true, man. Nothing but grinding.
That's good. So how'd that come about? I know a little bit about it. I know you're moving down to South Carolina, possibly job interview going on. What really made you pick the South? For those that don't know, tell them where you're actually living and where you're from.
Okay, so I currently live in Michigan. I've lived in Michigan my whole life. I'm going to be 29 here in like 2 weeks. So, been here forever. It's just the winters, man. Just the winters are so rough every year and you can't really do anything. I mean, that's why a lot of Michigan people are just naturally gamers, man. There's not a lot to do in the wintertime. So we all just stay inside and game. And, yeah, we've been looking for about 4 years now at relocating. We've researched everything from like RVing around the country to see where we really want to stay. We've been researching multiple states: North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee have been like the main ones that we've been looking at. And yeah, we just decided South Carolina is just like, we're going to be right near the mountains and everything. So that's just where we decided. It's going to be a nice year round and don't have to worry about intense cold. Like today, it's literally 20 degrees outside and I had to go to the grocery store and it was freezing, man. It's miserable.
Yeah, right now for me, I live in North Carolina, so it's about 50 degrees today. It's not bad. You can walk around with a t-shirt. I know you would. Probably some shorts.
Oh, shorts, yeah.
Definitely. So you're going to be an hour away from like the mountains and the beach. That's pretty exciting for you.
Yeah, I'm super excited, man.
Have you been down to South Carolina yet? Like actually took a bit of a tour and explored?
Not recently. I've been to South Carolina a couple times. Been to Myrtle Beach at least twice before, and not many other places in South Carolina, but that's about to change.
Nice, man. I'm excited for you. So when's the official move date?
The official move day is March 15th. That's when we're going to be moving in. Going to be super excited, man. We've got some of my wife's friends are already going to be coming down with us in the moving truck and everything. So getting everything sorted out, and I'm so happy, man.
Nice. I'm glad you're happy. That should be a good like change of pace for you, especially. I know Michigan is the weather's brutal. You've talked about it tons to me. Yeah, South Carolina's gonna be nice for you, especially in like the Greenville area is really up and coming. So if you're looking in that area, I definitely recommend.
Absolutely.
So one of the reasons why I wanted to bring you on the podcast is just you've been a Twitch streamer for such a long time, and I'd really like to get your input on basically your overall experience of Twitch since the very first time you started streaming to where you are now. Could you give us a bit of like a history of how your journey has commenced?
All right. So in around 2014, I forget exactly when in 2014, but that's when I started I started streaming regularly on Twitch. To backpedal just a little bit beyond that, though, I created my account, I think 2013. But I used to watch Twitch all the time. Not many streamers back then, but it's pretty inspiring to see other people like putting their content out there and people actually watching and interacting in chat. So I thought that was like super fascinating. Back in like 2012, 2013, I believe, when my wife and I were just dating at that point, she would come over and hang out, and I was actually like leading what we called Zergs in Guild Wars 2. So I would just run through with Zergs, and then eventually got to the point where I became like a commander. So then I would lead like the Zerg around and stuff. And just like the fact of being like a leader of, like a gaming group, and, being able to interact with so many people and stuff, like both of the combinations of doing it and seeing other people do it. And I'm like, why can't I do that? So I took the commander role there, and then that kind of just like inspired me to want to be a streamer and kind of like grow a community and get to meet tons of people within the gaming community, and continue to grow and stuff.
That's pretty
It's
cool.
pretty awesome.
Yeah, so for those that don't know, isn't a Zerg basically a gaming clan almost?
Yeah, so we would run around with like 40 to 60 players all in one huge group and just like annihilate people.
That sounds brutal. But a lot of
It was
fun.
awesome.
Nice. So I guess when I first found your stream, it was like 2015, and you were playing Halo 5 a lot. And a lot has changed in those like 5 or 6 years. What would you say is like overall your most, I don't know, your proudest or most memorable moment while you've been streaming?
Wow. That's a tough question. I mean, we've had a lot of absolutely incredible things happen. Getting to meet all of the people through Halo community and stuff and streaming that game, we had a pretty epic night when Gamers for Giving, they do tournaments every single year here in Michigan. The one year, the tournaments, they couldn't get it set up and working there at like the tournament event center, because like you can't just hook up LAN to these Xboxes, which is just blasphemy. But you couldn't hook up the consoles for LAN, and they couldn't get the internet working in the venue. So, or just specifically for Halo 5. So Sunday rolled around, and Saturday night I was like, listen, if you guys can't get this working, I'm literally going to try and bring everyone to my place to at least have the LAN. And I was like an hour away from the venue, and they were like, if you want to do that, whatever. So Sunday morning rolled around, I hit them up. They were like, yeah, it's not working. I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to post a mass tweet and try and get everyone to come to my place. And I literally had about 45 people come through to my place, and we streamed like a massive Halo tournament. And at the time, Ninja ended up hosting our stream after he was done streaming and everything. It was an insane night, which now Ninja is huge.
Right.
I think that was 2016 or so.
Yeah,
So,
I think he probably yeah, he probably popped off around like 2018 or 17, whenever Fortnite became a huge deal.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Overall, that sounds insane. So you had like, was it just all competitors, or were they just like spectators, or just overall Halo 5 fans?
It was majority were people that were competing and stuff. So a lot of people, they traveled from like Texas and stuff like that all the way up to Michigan for this event, and then couldn't play. You know how like sad that is. So I just had to throw it down and had people bring their setups and stuff and got the action going. So yeah, I had people that were coming from Texas that came for the event initially. They like showed up to my house, and they were like, yeah, is this where the LAN's happening now? I'm like, yep, come on in.
That's awesome.
And then awesome. The cops actually showed up too. He was pretty nice. He just knocked on the door. He's like, there's tons of cars parked in the road. What's going on here? I'm like, oh, well, I explained, that the Halo event got shut down. I invited everyone over. He's like, all right, sounds good. Have fun.
You probably just thought like, yeah, it's just a bunch of gaming nerds. They're not doing any harm.
Right?
Staying inside playing Halo. That's
Thought he was
awesome.
busting down some big party, but nope, just a bunch of gamers.
Oh yeah, for sure. That sounds like a ton of fun, man. A lot of people don't realize like how bad of the networking issue was with Halo 5, where you had to literally be on, like, if you wanted to play on LAN, you had to be connected to their dedicated servers in order to play on LAN, which was so ridiculous at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They've since fixed it, but I remember those first 2 years where they tried to do events, it was impossible because of what you were saying. So outside of like, basically, we went through arguably one of the worst years of 2020, and not in history, but probably in modern times. It's been pretty bad for a lot of people. How has 2020 treated you?
Well, 2020 was actually a good year for me in general. I was stuck in a job, so I was previously at UPS, and then I went to FedEx ultimately after that. Waking up at like 2 in the morning to get ready for work, and then working until like 10 a.m. was it was a rough sleep schedule. I couldn't manage, all of that. So when the pandemic struck, I got fired from my job. And I was able to like just kind of sit down and think about what my next steps were and what I wanted to do with, my life, because doing that forever was exhausting. I did that for 7-8 years. So that was pretty exhausting. So it was nice, reset to just sit down and say, what do I want to do? And from that point on, it's just been like grinding content, focusing on being a good parent, and thinking about next steps in future, and just prepping the rest of my life, and actually like taking the time to sit down and think about all that stuff has been absolutely just key. And you're seeing the steps that I'm taking and that we're taking as a family to try and move forward and make big changes. Like we've been told for many years, don't do this or don't do that, and we've listened to people, and it's just like, we're going to do what we want to do. We're going to live our life. So we're going to do it,
Yeah, I'm so glad
don't listen to the haters, man. Block them out.
Yeah, exactly. If anything, it's like the people that say no to you are the ones that like, that's just how they view it themselves, like if they're trying to be a content creator and they keep saying like, oh, you can't do it, it takes too much work, blah blah blah. It's just like, no, that's your belief and your perception of yourself that you're projecting on me. Like don't put those limitations on me.
Right. So, especially people like when we talk about moving, they're like, no, you shouldn't do that, blah blah blah. But those are the people that secretly are like, I want to move there so bad, and I don't want to see other people do what I want to do,
Oh yeah, it's usually people that like, they just don't want to, they're afraid to change, really.
Yeah,
I've experienced that a lot. I've done a lot of moving in the past, and they've always been like, you don't need to move there, you don't need to do that. It's just like, why? Because you've been living in the same town since you were like 5, and you're afraid to see what's over on like like, I don't know, in Colorado or something, or up in Pennsylvania, like wherever it is, you gotta take risks. So it's good to hear that like 2020 for you has been positive, man. I've seen tons of progress. Good things. Yeah, man, that's awesome. So just want to like dive into more gaming news, right? Like gaming stuff in general. How do you deal with streaming in general? Like, do you have any type of like preparation that you go into before you start your stream, or is it just like you hit the switch, you go live, and you throw on Halo 5?
So I know for a lot of people, they do talk about this a lot, that they have to like physically, mentally prepare to like go live, and they're kind of like scared and stuff. But I feel like since I've been doing it for so long, it feels super natural for me, being in front of a camera and everything. It's just it just feels like another day. I've been interacting with so many people online through gaming and streaming and everything for so long. I honestly don't do a whole lot to prep. I mean, I just do my morning routine. I wake up, get out of bed. So I wake up at 6:30 in the morning, get up, get a shower, and then make breakfast. And then, I'll just do whatever I need to do to set up. Usually give myself like 15 minutes or so to like prepare all my stuff. And then I just go live and good vibes, baby.
That's a good
That's
point.
it.
I've seen so many people come into your chat, and it's to the point where like you're streaming Monday through Friday, and you're streaming 8 to 1 Eastern time. You are basically becoming people's like talk show morning routine now, because they'll just like I'm one in particular. I'll just pop it on like if I'm because we're all working remotely now. A lot of people are, so I'll turn it on, and I'm just like, okay, I got the audio in the background, and I'm just like listening to what's going on. You got like music just loud enough to where it's like it's a good vibe, and then you're talking just about the game, and I'm over here working, chilling. So it's an overall good routine. I like what you got going on.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a lot of people seem to like it too, and I'm glad because that's what I'm trying to do is build a nice positive environment for people to just hang out. Like I say to people all the time, you don't even have to chat. If you're just hanging out, having a good time, then that's all I really can ask for from people.
Yeah. So far, so good, I think. How would you think video games have they had a positive or like negative impact on your life? Do you think? Because a lot of people have this like have this theory that like video games are really bad for you.
So it's very dependent on what's going on and what kind of environment you like put yourself in, with gaming. I mean, that goes with anything in life, but with gaming, it's the same way. So I've been in some really like awful communities and like communicating with some bad people, if you will. And those days are just like awful. You don't feel good. You don't feel positive. So like I said, it's about the environment that you set yourself into. So there are some pretty bad toxic environments out there, and there are very good ones. And like I said, that's why we're trying to build that positive, good environment so that way people have a good place to be in. Because I don't like when gaming is seen as like a bad place to be or a bad environment or that it's bad for people, I don't like that image at all. I've grown up gaming my entire life. Like I've got pictures of me when I was 4 years old playing Nintendo 64, man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so I've grown up gaming. It's always been a very positive thing for me. This is what my mom used to say. My mom would say, I'm glad that he's gaming rather than like being a hooligan and like doing awful things, like doing drugs like some people are, When I was younger in school, I was never doing that stuff because I was too busy gaming, hanging out with friends and stuff.
That's awesome, man. So overall, you think it's been a positive influence in your life?
Oh, for sure. Don't get me wrong. There's been some negative times, but for the most part, it's just all positive, baby.
That's good. Yeah, I think overall when I'm watching your streams, genuinely you're in a good like atmosphere, good vibes, and overall confident. But there are definitely moments where I've seen games sometimes you just want to throw something.
Right. And that's what I said. It depends on the environment that you're in. So it's like when you're in that bad, negative space, you just got to find a way out. You got to find a different route. Got to do something else.
That's right.
So
I wanna dive into more of like your preference of games. So what genre are you most like into? Why do you choose Halo 5 more recently to stream, like as your primary streaming game? And are there any games that you in general would just like you want to stream, but you don't know if you'll have like an audience? Does like the numbers impact anything? Any of your decisions on that?
So current times, well, let's just go with the games to start. I've always been a huge like FPS gamer. I've always played the Halo games since Halo CE started. I used to do LANs with my brother and his friends back in the CE days. So I've always just played Halo just nonstop, and Halo's always been like my go-to game. Like I feel like I have a really good understanding of the game, just in general from every single Halo. So I've always just kind of stuck with Halo as my main game. And so like shooter games is just what comes naturally to me. Back in N64 days, playing like Perfect Dark and, 007, like
Oh, I'm the same way, man. I got them in the other room right now, actually.
right. Exactly. So I've always grown up playing shooter games. I like, different kind of like puzzle games. Like my phone games are like the ones that try to challenge your brain and stuff like that. I'm into that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, like I said, the shooter games are always what I've gone to. So back when my daughter was born, I was streaming Halo 5 like every single day pretty much back 2015, 2016. She was born 2016, and then that's when I slowly started to fade away from streaming. And then I was only able to play games like super casually because I was focusing on being a parent. That's when I just started like venturing off into other games and trying other things. So, like as you mentioned earlier, the Fortnite craze blew up. So I was playing Fortnite for a little bit. PUBG was before that. Just all the battle royale games and genres. I've just kind of jumped on those, played them casually, enjoyed them, streamed them here and there, and yeah, I came back to Halo 5 because Halo Infinite is supposed to be coming soon, right?
Yeah.
So let's see, it was supposed to come out this year or in 2020. So I started streaming Halo again in around, what was it, like May? I think it was around May.
Yeah, March, April, May, probably, because that's when I started going back to Twitch again. Because before I was living on YouTube like a creature, and then I switched over to Twitch, and I was like, oh, Crazymiller's on. Let me go check him out. So I think it was around March, April, May.
So March is when the whole job thing happened that we talked about earlier. So I'm just scrolling back to the calendar. March is when the whole job thing happened. And then April hit. I believe I started streaming regularly in April. Yeah, you've got it right there. So if you go to April of 2020,
yeah,
let
me switch the cameras over. Yeah, you were just about here. There was a big gap of March in 2019 where you didn't stream at all. You popped on for a little bit here. Mm-hmm. So what was this? May 26th. And then the job happened in March, you said.
Correct. So the end of March.
That sounds about right because the 16th of March, you pretty much were streaming almost every day.
Literally the pandemic day, wasn't it? March, like the middle of March, wasn't it?
Right.
So that's when the whole pandemic thing happened, the whole job thing happened. And I was just like, you know what? My passion, my dream has always been streaming, content creating. So boom, now is my opportunity. And then I set a schedule, and so like the whole schedule thing, right? It's based on what my wife's schedule was like. So my wife has always supported me. She's always been there for me for all this stuff. So she's like, you know what? If you want to pursue it, just boom, take this time slot that works best for you. She was able to manipulate her schedule so I could stream from 8 till 1. Well, actually, I think I started at 10 to 3, and then she was going to work after. And then I was like, all right, let's switch it up a little bit. And I'll just go earlier so that way you can get to work earlier as well. So then we switched it to 8 to 1. And yeah, so I've just been grinding like nonstop ever since then. So like I said, she works with me. She helps me with my schedule, and she supports everything. So it's nothing but good things, man. Set the schedule and go, go, go.
That's awesome. Well, that's why she's a wife.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So what kind of advice would you give for somebody that's trying to become not necessarily a Twitch streamer, but a streamer in general? Like if they're on Facebook, YouTube, wherever.
Mhm.
What has been, because I've seen a lot of success that you've had in not even a year now. Because
Yeah.
if you look at this, you have essentially an average viewer base. I know you personally don't care about viewers. You just want to see growth in some aspect. But
Yeah,
a,
the
a,
chat is what I focus on the most, like
yeah,
just
your
interacting with people and
yeah,
stuff.
your chat in particular is very interactive and very welcoming. People, especially in the Halo community, you'll turn to like pro streamers and their chat's pretty much dead, but they'll have upwards of hundreds. And then we'll click
Yeah,
on
for sure.
yours, and then yours is like it's all over the place. Everybody pretty much, they're getting to the point where they've known each other for over a year now, and
Yeah.
it's very, very community based. So what I'm trying to get at here is like you went from taking off a year where you already had a following base of, I think you were just shy of 5,000 followers,
Yeah.
maybe
Yeah,
something
so
like.
I actually peaked at, I think it was like just over 5,000 something, and then when I stopped streaming, so actually if you back up, does that go up to 2016? Does that
Oh
show?
yeah, it does. It goes all well. I
Oh,
think
it doesn't show the streams. Okay.
no, it doesn't. But I think they do show statistics and followers. So if you want to do that, so now you have 5.5 thousand followers,
Hmm.
and if we can figure out a way, okay, so this is the entire slot period. I guess your first stream was November 17th.
Just what it registers on that site,
Yeah.
yeah. So anyways, back in like 2016 or so is when I peaked up at just over 5,000. And then as you can see there in the 2017s, people were just unfollowing because I wasn't streaming like at all really.
Right.
So people unfollowed. I think it went down to like 4,600 or something like that. And then if you look at March, what was it, March 16th, 2020 is when I came back. That was like our slow ascent back into the grind.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
been
March
working.
16th.
It's literally right here. You had an average viewer base of 6, and your
Hmm.
followers were 4,826, and now you're standing at, well, obviously this is the most recent stream, but you're consistently putting over 20, sometimes 30 viewers and becoming number 1 category early in mornings for Halo 5.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. I remember it was somewhere around like April or June, and I told you, I was like, if you just keep doing what you're doing, you're going to get back to where you were. Because it was the 2015, 2016 where you're having steady followings, viewers, raids, and you were getting, I think sometimes you were getting close to 100 viewers. You were
Yeah.
crushing it. So it
Yeah,
was,
that was crazy back then.
yeah. And it's really good to see that the success is coming back now that you're putting time and effort into it. So
Totally.
what would you think is like I I guess a lot of people when they're streaming, they don't understand or they don't know how to properly, let me close that ad. They don't know how to properly manage their time.
Mhm.
So how would you manage your time with streaming? Because you can treat streaming like it's work and content creation, but also manage with your family because you do have a child, you have a daughter, and you have a wife. So
Mhm.
how do you manage all that?
So this goes for pretty much any broadcaster in general, like we were going to talk about previously. I would just set a schedule. I mean, that's pretty much what balance in life comes down to in general, right? Set a schedule and just make sure you're sticking to it, you know? If gym is high up on your priority, figure out where the gym needs to be in your schedule. If you want to stream, if you have work, you obviously can't stream while you're at work. So you need to set up your schedule and set up what's going to work best for you. Even if it's only streaming 1 or 2 times a week, as long as you're consistent and you stick with that schedule, people are going to, add your stream into their schedule too, So it's like, I know that Mr. Mad Mike streams. So I'm going to make sure that I'm able to try and be there for his streams. I'm going to make little segments in my schedule available so that way I can try and tune in. And I mean, that's that's how it is in general. I have my I went over my morning routine just to get set up for streaming. Then once I do stream, I just stream until 1, and then I get off, and then usually my wife goes to work, so I just hang out with my daughter from that time, and then my daughter goes to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. So then I have free time until I try to be in bed by midnight. So usually that time I try to spend hanging out with wifey if she's got homework or schoolwork. Then I have free time to either grind content or get on, play games, practice, do whatever. So it all just comes down to finding that perfect balance and that schedule. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah, and to add onto that, with our other mod, Mr. JK Heath, who will eventually make an appearance, I hope. Talking with him over content creation, a lot of streamers, from my perspective, they feel as though once they hit end stream, they're done for the day. But that's not the case. And I know you're ripping a lot of a lot of clips and a lot of VODs from your stream, and you're exporting them like mad, especially this week on Twitter. I've seen you post almost every single day, like
yes,
a 10, 15, even up to 30-second clips of just meme-worthy events that have been happening. So I guess when you're ripping the clips or edits from your stream, what are you looking for? How do you know, like, okay, this one probably is going to be a hit. Like this is good content, or are you just taking a blind risk and posting what you can?
So a lot of times what ends up happening is during my streams, I will be just kind of keeping my eye out for what I think would be interesting or funny or whatever. Like the one moment that I had, my most recent clip is there was a player that was just sitting completely still in a corner, and I walk up and I see him and he's just not moving, and I looked at the camera, I'm like, is this guy serious? Like, what is he doing? He's just not moving. And then he turns and he looks toward me, and I just beat him down. But it's just just silly, funny little things like that. I have a little marker thing on my stream deck, so that the clip's right there. Just silly stuff like that. If I think that it'll be funny or entertaining, I'll mark it on my stream deck, so that way I can come back to my stream later and watch the clip and determine, do I think that's going to be a good one, or should I just skip that, or whatever. And then I'll just clip that content, and then I'll just get ready to post it. Same with my YouTube videos and stuff like that. If I have a really good game, or if I have an insane clip, then I'll mark it so that way I can come back to my stream later. And during when I'm watching my daughter, she's really good, so we'll hang out in here, we'll watch some of my stream stuff and see if she finds it funny. Like the other day, she literally scared me so bad on stream, and she absolutely loved watching that clip over again. So
see if I can find it.
She likes my content. She laughs at my content. She enjoys it. So she watches my streams too when I'm live. So yeah, this is it right here. She watches me when I'm live and stuff. So that's why another reason why I want to try and keep it family friendly and stuff. So if you go back to the beginning of the clip, Mike,
you'll
here. See the very beginning of that clip. You'll see her run in. She opens the door and runs in, hides behind the door.
You had no idea.
I had no idea. I was talking to my wife because she was sitting on the couch, so I was just chatting with her. And then you can see I'm about to come back into the room. Chat's laughing because they see her go behind the door. And I go back talking to wifey, and then I try to come into the room. And then she said, "Surprise!" And I was like, "Oh!" She's just laughing it up, having a good time.
That's awesome.
We watched that clip so many times. She absolutely loved watching that clip. She loves the stream. My daughter comes in, says hi all the time. it's like one of her favorite parts of the day is coming in to say hi, and she has everybody put hearts in the chat 'cause she loves to see the hearts, and my daughter has a good time with it. So, I mean, like I said, that's another reason why I wanted to be more family friendly and, no swearing, family friendly. And to be honest, if you look at majority of the Halo streamers, they're all cussing constantly and not super like family friendly, if you will. So,
Yeah.
trying to be that person for the family friendly people, and people can watch with their kids and enjoy the Halo content and not be worried about swearing and all that craziness. So
Yeah, that's a good point. That actually leads me into more of what I want to talk about when it comes to branding and marketing for yourself. And I was going to lead into just how would you classify your brand? And it sounds more like family friendly, FPS, good vibes, music, and everything like that. Is there anything that you would actually add on to that? Is there any particular like driving brand when somebody sees Crazymiller? Is there anything that you want them to feel or attribute to?
yeah, the main thing that I'm trying to go for is just like the positivity and good vibes. I know we all have bad days and it might seem a little off from that brand, if you will, but I mean, ultimately that's the goal, and it's just like getting there is kind of the hard part. Like I said, trying to be more family friendly, trying not to slip up and stuff like that. It's kind of tough, especially my work history, 8 years in warehouses where people are just swearing up a storm. It's kind of hard to transition in there. So sometimes there is slip ups, and sometimes there's stuff that might be said. But for the most part, just want it to be positive, good vibes, and just like a family friendly environment that people are just happy to come hang out in. That's what I want people to think of when they think of Crazy Miller's stream.
Nice. That is actually probably the best description that I would give for your stream, just as somebody that watches it. So
That's awesome. I know that like if you watch my stream probably about like a year ago or whatever, it probably wouldn't be the same vibes. And even like a couple months ago, it might not even be that same vibe. But like I said, I'm trying to transition it into that for the future of the stream, because that's where I want it to be as a whole. So everything's just a learning curve, everything's a learning experience. You see what works and what doesn't work. And like I said, mentally, I wasn't in a very good space when I was running streams a different way. But now that I'm trying to bring that good energy and stuff, like I'm getting the good energy back from people in the chat, and it just feels good, man. It feels great. Like I end my stream and I'm just like, man, I wish I could stay longer. But you still feel good like when you're done streaming. Whereas before I was just like, all right, now I'm done. Now I don't know what to do.
yeah.
It wasn't a good vibe before, so now we're here, baby.
Well, that leads into, so when you have people come into your chat or just people that you play with or you communicate with and they're very very negative, because like what they could do is they can bring like a toxic atmosphere to your stream. How do you deal with that? Like, are there any strategies you use, or do you, I don't know.
So lately, since I've been going for the positive and all that good fun stuff, it's more of getting to know people before you allow them into like your voice comms and stuff like that. Lately, I haven't really been doing much voice comms with people. I've just been kind of like sticking to just bringing the content on myself, and just focusing on that, and like bringing the content, like I said, by myself, and not a like, because a lot of times if you bring other people into voice comms and stuff like that, they tend to like speak over you or talk over you, and that could be somewhat frustrating in itself, just people talking over you constantly. So a lot of times it's just either avoid comms or just make sure you know who's coming into voice comms with you before letting them in.
Yeah,
Because I had that experience like a couple weeks ago. Someone came in, they were just saying a bunch of random stuff and they were like promoting their own content. And I was just uh, like, I didn't want to just be like, all right, I got to go, bye, or something, like I don't really know how to handle those situations fully. But I mean, if that does come up again, I'm just going to be like, all right, well, I'll probably just chat with you later. I'm going to exit the call or whatever. I don't know. I haven't really been in many of those situations. I just try to avoid them altogether.
that makes sense. How do you I guess that really leads into streamer etiquette. A lot of people don't know the type of etiquette you need to have when you approach somebody in the chat, or like especially if you're a viewer and you get in those voice comms. Is there anything that you would give any type of advice to them of like what to look out for?
Yeah, so one of the big ones that I just talked about is like let the streamer talk. Like you have to think about streaming or like the streamer as like the host of a show in a sense, right? So allow the host to talk, and if they ask you a question or if they give you a good point that you want to talk about, then feel free to talk about it, but don't just like interrupt them or don't do anything completely crazy unless that kind of content is what they do with their stream. So it's just you want to know the streamer that you're working with or that you're going to be in voice comms with before you actually like enter their voice comms. So it's just know their audience and know what they're trying to do. So like I said, I personally don't like people talking over me. I don't like people like self-promoting their content. If I like your content, I will promote your content for you. Like I will do that. I have no problem with that. And like I said, I'm going to do that. I will promote your content. Just allow me time to do that. But just don't talk over me. Don't promote your content. Obviously, if my stream is going to be family friendly, whatever, no swearing. It's like I said, learning the streamer and learning the community, learning what they're trying to do for their stream and or their show, right? And then go off of that. It's like if you're on Jeopardy and someone's talking, you're not just going to be like screaming over the host, right? You're going to get kicked off the show.
Imagine if somebody was like screaming over Alex Trebek.
Right? It would be crazy.
It would never work. They'd cut your comms.
Exactly.
That's a good point.
Can they do that in the show? Can they just like turn off your mic? I'm sure they probably.
I'm sure they could. I'm sure they could. They probably interview people for hours. Just like, okay, you're going to be on TV nationally, and it's going to end up on the internet, which lives forever.
Right, exactly.
So don't do anything embarrassing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I guess it's similar to that if you think about it in that aspect.
Yeah. From my experience, I think people need to learn how to read the room first. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't want somebody joining into a streamer's chat and instantly saying like, hey, everybody come over to my stream. I'm playing the same game.
Right.
Because I've seen that happen tons of times. And it's an instant ban.
Yeah. I mean, that not only just like voice comm etiquette, but like chat etiquette too. Chat etiquette, don't plug your own content. Like people will literally come in, they'll be like, yo, what's up, dude? And you're chatting with them, whatever, and they're like, all right, I'll see you later. I'm going to stream. And it's like, all right, have a good day. Like, I understand that you're like excited and you kind of want to like have that little self-promotion of like, hey, I'm streaming, by the way. When you end your stream, you're probably going to raid me, right? Because I said that I'm streaming. Like, that's, I don't know if that's what people think or what, but that's not good, man. It's not a good look.
That's a good point. I've noticed a lot of there's some risks to come with raiding and hosting people. How do you choose who you're going to raid, and what are the type of risks that you are taking as a especially when you raid somebody that has a smaller community to your own?
So what I like to do personally is, so in my free time, when I do have free time available, I like to browse other Twitch streamers and find other people within the Halo community um, that I enjoy watching. Those are the people that I'm gonna try and raid the most. Like the ones that I see that are grinding, they're staying consistent, their content is good. Those are the people I'm gonna try and raid. Um, Big community or small community. I mean, I've raided pretty much all across the board. When I'm done streaming, I usually try and raid somebody, just somebody in general. If I don't see anybody on that I like feel like is got that good vibes, positive energy, stuff like that, I try not to raid as much, right? But there are people that I kind of stick to, like I said, that I've already am established in their community, or I know that they have a good loving community. I'm going to stick to rating those people. But like there have been some that I've like rated not really knowing, and it's just kind of like super weird, and they're not even like grateful that you're coming over and sharing your community with theirs. So the risk thing is definitely there. Like I've had some pretty awkward raids, and I've just been like, all right, I'm not raiding you ever again. Like if this is how you want to do it, all right. Take
Without
care, dude.
without giving any names, can you describe what happened to make it weird?
So just like when you raid somebody and they just start like instantly like throwing out like obscenities and just like slurs and stuff like that, and you're just like, oh my goodness, like I did not realize that this is how you ran your broadcast.
Yeah,
So
definitely going from a family-friendly stream to somebody
right to
that's
that.
basically running 18 plus, like
Yeah,
mature content, screaming and cursing is not good.
right. So I've had those experiences, and I'm just like, yikes. So that's what, like I said, with that was like previous raids and stuff. Now I'm doing more research and stuff. So like I said, you live and you learn. Those were learning experiences from the past. So moving forward, we're gonna try and stick to people that are more along the lines of my content, because it just kind of makes sense, right? Why would you raid another streamer's stream with your community? So imagine, right? You got a dad and his kid watching your stream, and then all of a sudden they get pushed into a stream where the person's just yelling obscenities. Uh,
That
Not
guy,
very good.
yeah, that guy, that dad may not come back to your stream
In my
because,
stream, exactly.
yeah. So at, overall, I think like rating people is probably one of the biggest risks you can have as a streamer because you never know what's going to happen at the end of it.
Right. And when you raid somebody, it does push your entire community there. Like it forces the video and chat. Like it literally pushes them to the channel. Whereas hosting it'll just bring up like the video from the other one, I believe, and it doesn't like bring you to their chat or anything. Rating actually like physically moves the person into that other person's channel completely. So hosting is more of like a safe. I think people do that as like a safe thing where it doesn't like force the user into the other community or whatever. Or they may not just want to like share their community into the other community because they're scared of like losing that person to another community or something like that. If I raid or if I host somebody or if I raid somebody and now that member of my community falls in love with theirs and just goes to theirs, that's what people are like afraid of, I guess. I don't really know. I guess that could be another risk with raiding other people, but
Yeah, that's a good point. There's it's kind of weird to think about, but it's sort of true. Twitch doesn't have a big viewer base in comparison to other streaming platforms. So when you do raid somebody that has the same schedule and same time slot as you do, that just introduces competition to yourself. Is that something that you don't worry about?
I don't worry about that. Strictly because like I said, I don't really care about like the viewership or like numbers or whatever. If people literally come to my stream for like a whole minute out of the day and they just say hey to me, like that's cool enough for me. Like that means that somebody literally took a whole minute out of their day, their busy life, just to come say hi to me. That's pretty sweet. That's all I care about, man. Just being able to interact with tons of other people. It's so cool.
You sound very humble right now.
I mean,
it's the truth.
It's true, man. I've talked a lot about it on stream recently. Like that is truly what I care about. Like people come in, they're like, "Dude, you have whatever viewers or whatever," and I'm just like, "Cool." I mean, I'm here to hang out with people and chat with them and make sure that people hopefully have a good day. If not, trying to give them hugs, man, trying to show love and try and make them feel better. That's what we're here for, man. Because like you said earlier, you could literally have 100 plus viewers, right? But your chat isn't moving.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like you have 100 viewers. And it's kind of sad if you have your viewer count on, which I always leave mine off because I don't want to worry about this stuff. If you are sitting there and you're streaming and you're staring at your viewer count that you have 100 viewers watching you and nobody's chatting, it feels sad. Like it feels lonely. You're like, why aren't these people chatting? Like what's going on here? Like it feels very sad. And I've even had that happen recently. I'll speak for myself where, like I said, I have my viewer count turned off, but there'll be like moments where it's just like 20 to 40 minutes of no chat at all. And I'm just like, what do I do? Like, I feel alone. Like, are people even watching? Like, do I have 0 viewers? Like, is my stream not working? Like, what do I got to do to get people chatting? So, that's why I'm all about the chat, man. Because like I said, it kind of feels lonely when you don't have a ton of chat activity going on.
Yeah, that sounds like a really good metric to look at is engagement, because that's really what it is. So when you don't have that engagement, when the chat is pretty much dead, that happens to a lot of new streamers where they're really streaming possibly to no one, maybe 1 or 2 viewers that just randomly pop in just to see what's going on. How is there any advice that you would give them, or what is your tactic in general on how to combat that dead chat, low viewer base? Because you, like you said, you don't see your viewers, so that doesn't affect you at all. But when the chat's dead, what's your tactic?
So for me personally, I try to just continue like commentating my gameplay. So as you know, I play Halo. I play Halo 5 right now. That's the main game that I stream and play. When the chat's completely dead, I try to focus more so on my gameplay, and I try and talk about like what I'm trying to do in the situation and how I'm trying to get better as a player. So I'll start talking about gameplay stuff to try and drive more engagement. So I would recommend that to anyone that's gaming. Just talk about what you're doing, why you're doing it, what you think the benefits of doing that is going to be, and continue to try to like ask questions, like make open-ended statements or ask questions to try and get people chatting. And that goes for literally any game. So if I'm playing Halo and I could ask, did anyone see what time camo is up? Like, do you have the video pulled up right there, Mike, or no?
This is actually your VOD of Twitch right now.
Is it on the podcast right now or no?
Yeah, it's on the podcast right now.
Okay. So yeah, I just picked up camo in that situation. So asking camo timers, did anybody see when camo was, or just any kind of questions in general. Like that game is very close. It's 48-47. So you can try and build up some hype around if you're going to win the game. And then boom, we just won 50-49. So you can try and drive hype around the win, like that you clutched up that game, or just there's so many options. Like I said, just try and drive engagement, try to get people hyped up. And that's really what like drives a lot of Twitch chats in general.
Yeah,
So
that's a good point. I want to bring up something that I've noticed you do recently. I think within the last 2 weeks, you started doing predictions on your channel. Can you explain where that came from and how it works?
so Twitch created what's called predictions, so that way you can use the channel points from the channel that you're watching and make a prediction on something. So I did get an email about it. Twitch sends out all the new features and emails and stuff like that. So I saw it originally on there. Didn't know much about it, didn't really look a ton into it. And then I noticed like Rocket League was doing predictions, and I was like, hey, this is pretty neat, because you were able to predict on who's going to win or lose the match in Rocket League in like major competitive esports. And I was like, this is pretty sweet, man. Like, I was literally just watching it yesterday while they were doing predictions. They had over like 4 million points just in one prediction alone, which is insane. But I guess I haven't really looked too much into what Rocket League you can do with their point systems, or like with the channel points in general. But just I know that in my community, if you get 50,000 channel points, you can get a gifted sub, or you could, if you're already like a subscriber, you can gift a sub to somebody else. So it just drives more interaction with the people in the chat and allowing them to vote on if they think we're going to win the match or lose the match, which you can get creative with it. You can come up with whatever you want. Like, I've seen that some other streamers have started implementing predictions as well. Like, will this person shoot like a 70% accuracy in this match? Yes or no? And then you can vote, and then you earn channel points. It's just like a cool new thing, cool new feature that Twitch added.
Nice. So, what are the different ways that you earn channel points? Because some people haven't, like, Twitch is still like a niche kind of community.
Right. So to earn channel points, you just have to be present in the chat. As long as you're watching the channel, you can earn channel points. If you become a subscriber of the channel, I think it's 2 times the amount. If you're a tier 2 subscriber, it's like 2.5 times. And if you're a tier 3 subscriber, which is the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 are just different amounts that you're paying per month to the subscriber. You can earn more channel points that way. So I think it's 3 times points for tier 3. I might be wrong with that, but they do multipliers for channel points just from watching. If you subscribe, if you cheer bits, you also earn more channel points. And while you're watching a stream, you can get little like event boxes that pop up that you can click on and gain, like, I think it's around 50 channel points more just from being there and actively clicking on the box.
Right. I think you're right on that. They also do if you tune into your stream on consecutive streams, they'll give you bonus multipliers as well. To where you
and rating was one too. If you raid another community and you go with, like, you join the raid, then you gain extra points as well. So
yeah, that's good. So I guess where do you want to take your stream for the long term, especially with you moving soon? What's the plan here? Do you have that sorted yet?
So we haven't finalized everything 100% with job wise with moving and everything. So my stream schedule may change. I'd like to keep it the same ideally, just because I love the time slot, waking up and streaming. But if my time slot does move more into the nighttime, then that would open up opportunity for me to maybe try and do more competitive Halo stuff, because I'll be in that North American time slot for when the majority of North American players are on, and I could maybe practice with people and maybe build a team. So there's a lot of options moving forward. Ideally, I'm just sticking with Halo until Halo Infinite comes out. That's the main goal. Sticking with it and grinding out as much as possible for Halo Infinite. That's the biggest goal, which people are speculating now in November 15th, I believe, 2021. That's what people are trying to say. We haven't gotten an official release date, so we're still waiting on that. But I've got plenty of options, so whatever is the best route for me and my family is going to be the one that I'm going to take. So see where we go.
How do you feel overall about Halo Infinite and the development process? Because in general, 343 Industries has been going through different studio heads. They've well, there's a little bit of a controversial non-controversy, if you want to call it that. You know, the weapon skins that they're doing that people are all upset about.
Oh, the armor coatings and stuff.
Yeah, the armor coatings. And what's your overall take and feel on Halo Infinite right now?
So the way that I view it is they can do whatever they want. I personally don't care what the game looks like. All I care about is that the game plays super well and there's a nice competitive scene for Halo, because what I want to see is Halo tournaments continuously. Like I said, I was watching Rocket League. Why was I watching Rocket League? Because Rocket League, they do tournaments all the time. They do tournaments all the time, and it's so like nice and refreshing to be able to go on there and see all of their esports stuff. Like they're even doing it at college levels. So college level Rocket League, like that's so cool. I wish that I had that back when I was in school, you know? It'd be sweet to be playing Halo competitively. So I'd like to see Halo succeed. Like I said, be cool to see Halo at college level, like esports, just big orgs buying into Halo. And like I said, all I care about is gameplay, really. The whole everyone complaining about armor coatings to me is just so silly. It's like, do you really need to customize your Spartan that much? Or does it really matter? Like, to me, I personally don't care.
Yeah, I think for me, it seems like more of the casual fan base that just likes to play the game and doesn't view it as something to stream or take it to a professional or competitive level. I can understand why they're going to be upset, just because. Yeah, but overall, it doesn't affect the gameplay. Where I think you're right on that.
Mm-hmm. Just like you already know this, but I haven't been super huge on the campaigns. So it's like, if Halo Infinite literally came out without a campaign, I wouldn't even be upset. But I know there would be so many angry people. But
I would be one of them.
If I just got a multiplayer, I'd be happy. But I don't know. Everyone's completely different with how they view Halo Infinite and how they want it to come out. And like I said, mine's just good gameplay, super competitive, and that would be awesome for me.
Well,
whatever goes down at 343 Industries, I could care less as long as they produce a good game. Just like when they announced that they were taking another year, I was like, dang, that stinks. But I will happily wait another year as long as I get a good game.
I can understand that. A lot of developers nowadays are pushing out products that they know aren't finished, and they're claiming it is, only to update it like 3 months later.
Cyberpunk.
That actually leads into I remember you were talking to me about switching over to different games, and I was trying to give you advice of doing about like have half your stream being Halo and then transition it into the other game so you can keep your fan base or like your viewer
Mhm.
base and transfer them over to another game because they come for the Halo, they'll stay eventually for you as the person streamer.
Right.
So that transition over to Cyberpunk lasted what, a week?
A week, yeah, it was a full week.
We know
So
what happened.
I was doing that with Cyberpunk for a little bit and Rocket League. It just ended up being the fact that for me streaming, I enjoy streaming Halo. I mean, streaming the other games is fun, but I feel like single player is just not really my thing for streaming. Like I said, when I stream Halo, I already know what to talk about. I know how to do like commentary and stuff over myself, and I know what kind of content I want to create. With Cyberpunk, everything was just super random, and I had no idea really what to expect next. And there was a lot of like silence from me while streaming that game. So Cyberpunk, they do a lot of talking in the game. So I would just sit there silently listening, not really interacting with chat, waiting until they were done talking to even interact with chat, and who knows how much time could go by. And it just wasn't really like the atmosphere that I enjoyed while streaming. Um, Rocket League, on the other hand, Rocket League is very fun, and I can do a pretty good job streaming that and chatting. But I just enjoy playing and streaming Halo over Rocket League for the most part. Rocket League is a good change of pace, but I want my 5 hour time slot to just be the one game that I want to work on and work hard for the future.
That it's working for you. I'll tell you that. I've seen all your numbers go up, and not only that, just watching your gameplay of Halo,
Oh
I've
man,
seen you significantly get better. It's not like you were bad to begin with, but
right.
like overall the plays are better. You're not missing anymore, and you're doing crazy mechanics and maneuvers. Your overall ranks in Halo has been going up. So
Mhm.
a lot of people don't understand how the Halo ranking system works, but isn't the first level like bronze, and then it goes bronze, silver, gold, platinum, diamond, onyx, and then the top 200 of onyx is
Mhm.
champion. And you've
Correct.
reached what, rank 41 in team SWAT right now?
Yeah, it's yeah, like 40. I think champion 40 right now, and I just started playing that like a couple days ago to try and grind it out. It's been like
Yeah,
a week, I think.
yeah, a week in, and you switch from team arena, whereas a shield based arena playlist, to go into no
Mhm.
shields, one headshot kill in SWAT, and a week in, you're already rank 41 in the world, or 40 in the
Yeah.
world. So your improvements been through the roof, man.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Like you said, I can definitely tell that my gameplay is way better. Like I remember when I was just starting out, like I was getting destroyed in like the game modes against AI and stuff like that, and I was like, this is kind of discouraging. I feel like I'm really terrible at this game. And even playing arena, I was like, these people have never stopped playing the game, and I'm playing against them and getting annihilated. And now I feel like I can start hanging with some of the higher players, but ultimately the end goal is I would like to be super high up playing with like the professionals, but that takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, which I only stream the 5 hours. That's pretty much the only time I really have to game. So you'd have to put in a lot of work and a lot of time. That would be a goal to maybe play like that and to do competitive stuff. But just with everything going on, I don't really have all that time. But yeah, just seeing the gameplay change just over the months that I've been playing just feels so good.
Yeah, definitely noticed that. For people that are trying to get into the competitive scene and esports in general, I know you've been on teams before in the past. I think you were on teams definitely for Halo 5. But did you have any for Halo 4 or any other Halos? And when you did get on those teams, what was your practice regimen like?
Well, I have been to a couple competitions and stuff like that. When it comes to practicing, I was just talking to my brother-in-law about this today. A lot of like practice stuff from me comes from watching. So like watching film, watching other people play the game, because I have like a set way that I like to play the game, but you have to understand that every player plays the game differently. Every player has like a role, if you will, within the game. So you have to learn your teammates, you have to learn the way that they're going to play the game, and you have to try and work with them to, play efficiently with your play style adapted towards theirs to be able to make huge plays to win the game.
Yeah, that's a good point. I do something similar to that where I'll watch or listen to interviews of esports coaches, and there was one in, I think it might have been either CS:GO or the Overwatch community, and the coach, he had three ways of doing practices. So the first one was go for the win by any means possible, which is like tournament level practicing. The other practicing was playing people out of position. So something like Overwatch, you have tanks, you have support, you have healers. You'll just switch people around and make sure that they fundamentally understand how to play the different positions.
I like that.
Yeah, and then the third one was messing with settings or just trying to have fun and build chemistry amongst your teammates. Not necessarily to ruin or like to go for the win. Because
right.
I know you talked about toxic like players or atmosphere, but if you get a couple of teammates that they have no chemistry between each other, that can become very toxic very quickly. Sure. So is that something that you would think about implementing as well for those types of practices?
Yeah, if I could see, that's like the biggest issue that I have right now is like, A, not a lot of people play during the time that I play. B, a lot of the competitive players, they have like a completely different mindset than what I would want going into it. And it would be really hard to like build that chemistry, I feel like. So it's like, even if it wasn't like the best team in the world, as long as there's just like that good atmosphere, it's not people talking down to each other, people that are driven and want to have like the film review stuff and actually like sit down and put in the time towards bettering themselves and bettering themselves for the team and with the team. There's just so much that is involved with it that it would be so difficult, I feel like, to find and build that team. So I don't know. Like I said, I want to get into competitive, but there's just so much involved with it. And if practices were a thing like that, that's how I'd want them to go down. Is pretty much what you were saying, like switching things up and trying to build all of that chemistry together and have good vibes and actually enjoy being a team and working as a team, and not just like only caring about winning. And if you don't win, then you're going to throw a tantrum and get offline. Because I've had teams like that, and it's so frustrating.
I've experienced that plenty of times too. I'm more into, I would say, the old school competitive Halo. I know you know this. I'm over here playing Halo 2 games, like competitive games, Halo 2, 3, 4, and Reach. Now, one of the things that those past games had was a lot of people look at Halo like it's just 4-on-4, and that's it. There are no positions, but there actually are at the higher level. You'll have like a main Slayer whose sole purpose is to listen to the comms and do whatever he can to kill as many people as possible. Then you typically have two supports that are just positional players that try to control the map and lay down fire, not necessarily get kills, but definitely help out the main Slayer. And then the fourth guy is usually the objective-minded player. Is that something that you see in the Halo 5 esports scene at all? Are there roles like that, or is it something that people jump around and have to be all around good players?
So personally, I know that I'm a support player. Just with the way that you were describing it right there, I know for a fact that I'm like support slash objective player 100%. I'm always trying to like control the map, force spawns, stuff like that, and play for the objective. Whereas I know that a lot of people, like you said, are just main slayers, and when you get a full team of just main slayers, they're gonna lose objective majority of the time. So yeah, I do see it all the time in the competitive scene. Like you said, higher up, those higher up players, they know their roles, they know what they're doing, and they know what they have to do to win the game. Majority of them at professional level can just flex to any role, though. They know exactly what they're doing at all times.
Yeah, that's a good point. A lot of people don't think about that. They'll watch tournaments and they'll say like, "Oh, the objective-minded player has sniper. That's not going to be good." But it's like this is like top 25 player in the world. He's
Yeah,
good with the sniper.
yeah, he knows what he's doing with that sniper rifle. Don't you worry.
Yeah, the guy with the power weapons knows what he's doing, no matter what level you're at.
And
So
that's why when you were talking about Overwatch, you have like the support players and all that stuff in the whatever positions. It's really good to rotate those players around so that way they have the opportunity to see what it's like. So if you have your main slayer and you're used to giving him the sniper rifle every single time, well, what happens when you're in a tournament environment and you can't get him the sniper rifle and only the other player can get the sniper rifle because of positioning? That player needs to know what to do with the sniper rifle too. It can't just be that one guy. It's not like, hey, I'm going to run the sniper over to you so you can have it. Everybody's got to know the positions and know how to play and all
yeah,
that good fun.
that actually falls into overall sports. A good example is like if you have two teams, and let's say it's like the high school, middle school level, right? And you have your main, let's do soccer, that's the easiest one. You have your main striker that's just destroying the other team. Well, at one point, you're just not learning anything. He's not being a good teammate, even though he's putting in all the goals. What you got to do is you got to rotate in the other strikers and give them the opportunity. So if you're the main striker, like, hey, start being more team oriented and help out your teammate become better, because that's the way that you build your team and you build the overall confidence and chemistry of the team. And a lot of people don't take that into consideration, especially in video games.
For sure. Yeah, people don't even think that exists in video games, especially like when you literally say something about a coach. People are like, a coach in a video game? What are you talking about?
That's a good
and
point.
it's literally so crucial to a lot of teams. So like I know that when I was playing I think it was a Halo 5 event, and without a coach, like I played so differently, it felt like, but with the coach there like telling me exactly what's going on, so I didn't have to think about all of that stuff, because there's so much to take in with a video game. You're looking at all the things, you're trying to see like where the enemy team's spawning, how many players you have up, how many players they have up. You're thinking about all this, but if you have that information just being fed to you by a coach, it makes it so much easier to play the game. You can just focus.
You're right. Yeah, a lot of people don't know this, but if you watch the old tournaments that were in like person, you would have four players, four teammates. All of their like screens are visible, and then the coach would be behind them, standing, going back and forth, looking at all the screens, and he basically understands exactly what's happening in the entire game just by looking at his teammates, and he can give the call outs that are being like the more crucial call outs to control maps, or even power weapons and power ups. So
And sometimes players they don't realize it, but they have like a very crucial call out they're witnessing, but they don't call it out. And sometimes your coach is there to catch it, and your coach will let your team know, like just if you're zoning out or whatever. Because I've had that happen so many times. Like I'll be literally like gaming hard on Halo 5, and someone else will make a call out for me because I'm just zoned in, and they make that call out for me, and it ends up, benefiting the entire team. So it
Yeah,
happens a lot.
that's true. In Halo in particular, you have a spawn time anywhere from 5 to 10 seconds, and when you die, you're on a kill cam and you can cycle throughout your team, and somebody can cycle to you, and they have a third person point of view where they can rotate around and see what's going on in your view. And that definitely helps to have that person that's, even though they're out of the play and they're getting ready to respawn, they can still be like a contributing factor to their team by calling out for the guy. A lot of people don't they fail to do that sometimes.
Right.
So I think overall you're trying to, HCS announced the Halo Championship Series announced new events. They're doing Halo 5 online open bracket, which I think is amateur level, anybody can do it, and then the pro invitational only. If you can make your schedule work, is that something you're going to try to do? They're picking it up, I believe, in mid to early February, and it's going the whole summer of 2021.
All right, so let's pause real quick.
Okay.
Like actually pause because I have to pee.
All right, sounds good.
So I'm gonna take a bathroom break and I'll come back and then we'll answer that question.
Sounds good.
And I think my cat wants in too.
I heard something scratching in the background.
Right.
All right, we'll pause this right now. All right, and we are back. So we were talking about HCS and the overall schedule that they implemented, or like released really. And I've gone ahead and I put that up on the screen for everybody. Is that something that you could possibly fit into your schedule?
I mean, March 15th is going to be our moving day. So a lot of packing and preparation is going to go into it. I probably won't put a whole lot of time into the whole HCS stuff, but I know for a fact that I'm going to be watching and supporting it as much as possible. Like I was talking about earlier, I don't really have even like a starting point for a team. And to be able to play at nighttime is kind of tough in general. So I probably won't do it. But like I said, I'm going to be supporting it and trying to watch it and trying to see the players play in there and maybe like almost like scout, if you will, and see what kind of players and how they play and see if maybe I could try and message them or try and work with them to maybe team or something. I think that would be something that would be pretty cool. Just like watching people's streams and stuff and watching the broadcasts in general would be pretty neat.
Yeah, that's a good point. I guess that leads into how do you find teammates for something like this? You're going to scout the way you said?
I mean, that's an awesome question. I mean, that's something that I haven't really put much time into in the past. Previous teammates that I've had, I met some of them from stream sniping me. They were stream sniping me and kept getting into my games. And then ultimately we were like, let's play together. And then we ended up teaming for an event.
That's awesome.
And then the other players were just people that I've met through just other people in the Halo community. And that's just pretty much their time slots ended up working with mine. And so we were just like, let's team. And so I personally don't really know much about putting teams together and stuff, just like how people network and get into tournaments with people. So I know that there has to be like higher end Halo players, like Discords or something, or like group chats or whatever, that a lot of the high end players are in that communicate with each other, or they just know each other and they hit each other up on Twitter or something. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think both those theories are correct. I found my current teammates for Halo 5. We haven't been doing anything for HCS, so it's mostly just friends at this point. But originally you find those people through, I mean, this is 2014 and soon older, right? You would go to forums and you'd post on forums of like free agents and searching,
Right.
and forums are now kind of dead. So
Yeah.
it's like, where do you really go? Do you just try to find people on Twitch streaming the game, or
Right.
somehow finding out how to get into these Discord servers that definitely exist, where
Right.
people are just playing customs or matchmaking games together? It's
And to piggyback off that a little bit, it's I think, like I said, the whole scouting thing, I feel like a lot of people do scout out talent amongst other players and other teams. So I don't know if it's, I mean, it could be from streaming on Twitch or seeing, somebody play with another player and how they communicate and how they play the game and stuff like that. And then also maybe playing against them in matchmaking. Like I said, I don't have that nighttime opportunity to play. And if I did, and I was playing really well, people would see that and they would, be like, hey, let's try and run some games or something.
That's a good point. When you're reaching out to somebody, what is it? What exactly would you say to them for HCS and like teaming?
Well, it depends on how you discover them and what kind of talent they have. But I would just, hit them up and say, hey, you're a pretty talented player. I'd like to get some games in sometime.
Yeah, simple enough.
And yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple. Just hit their DMs wherever possible. Like I said, Twitter is like a huge thing. So like Twitter, people saw that HCS tweet that about the Pro Series, and they literally just quote tweeted it and said free agent. And I mean, that's how a lot of people get their name out there.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's basically the new forums.
Yeah, that's the
Just
standard. Like looking for a team, free agent.
that's awesome. It should be exciting. I like every new game has its new rising star. I think in particular with Halo 5, is there any streamers or professional players that I won't say you look up to, but you do like watching because of how talented they are?
Yeah, there's quite a few. Right now, I think everyone's favorite, just because he's streaming a lot nowadays in Halo 5 and he's sticking to it. Frosty. Frosty is incredible at the game. He's very entertaining to watch. He's super interactive with his chat, and he's just an all-around great guy. And it's like watching his gameplay, and it's almost like he's just casually playing too. He's just casually playing and playing like phenomenally. And it's like you can literally learn so much just from watching his gameplay in general, that he's definitely someone that I look up to as a player and as like a streamer and content creator. Like he's doing a great job on keeping the Twitch scene alive in Halo. Because I mean, he was doing Call of Duty for a long time, because he switched over and he was a professional Call of Duty player when Halo was dead. So
A lot of people have done that. I think after Halo Reach, Formal. Do you remember Formal at all? Yeah,
oh yeah, for sure.
he switched over to COD and he's been over there ever since.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it's always good to see like a COD player come back. You know.
Back in the day, like early Halo 5, like Shotzi.
I remember that name.
Shotzi was, hang on, let me look this up. Yeah, all right. So Shotzi was grinding Halo 5 for a while, and just to watch his gameplay, he was just absolutely doing things that nobody's ever seen before. And they were like, what is going on? Like this guy's amazing. Right? So he was like setting the bar really high back in early Halo 5 days, and he was like someone that I feel like so many people looked up to as like, oh my goodness, he's a newer player, or I mean, not many people knew of his name. And then to see him come in and just crushing Halo 5 like this, and then they ended up being one of the teams that took out like the number one team and they were like the best. I think it was Splice Gaming at the time. They won under Splice, and everyone was just like, these guys are doing stuff that nobody's ever really seen before, and they were blowing everybody's mind. And then, like you said about switching to different games, Shotzi switched from Halo 5 over to Call of Duty. And 2020, he won an award for Console Player of the Year.
That's crazy.
Yeah, isn't that amazing, dude?
It's really
so
cool.
Awesome.
There's
he won. He won Console Rookie and Console Player of the Year. Is the awards he won in 2020.
Do you know how old he is?
Shotzi is,
because that is a bright future for a good start
Shotzi's
for a career.
Pretty young. He is currently 19 years old.
Wow. Remember,
Yeah.
well, you and I are older. Remember how
Yeah.
video games was something that you had to just be quiet about?
Yeah.
Like, you'd be labeled in school or wherever as a loser. But now it's like these people are making $1 million deals. Going on professional
people are like
teams.
literally millionaires before they're 18 years old, and it's just like, all right, that's pretty incredible.
It's awesome. I absolutely love it.
I do too. And I look back at it and it's like, man, I wish that I was growing up in these times. But at the same time, we had a lot of awesome things in our gaming experience that's pretty much led up to this point. So I'm very happy for the future of gaming and the future of esports and stuff. So
yeah,
very happy
me too.
to see where it's going.
So overall, what are your future milestones? Do you have any type of tangible goals that you're trying to reach, like a set number of subscribers or followers on Twitch, or I don't know, subscribers for YouTube? Is there any type of direction you're trying to take your content creation?
So I've just set some pretty like basic goals that hoping that one day we can hit. Nothing too crazy. I'm not trying to be like unrealistic, and I'm not trying to be greedy. Just wherever my content goes, I'm gonna be happy with. I've set like every 500 followers that we get on the channel, I will be giving away like merch. So I have Crazymiller swag, if you will. You're wearing the Crazymiller hoodie
Yes,
that you won in one of the giveaways there. So right now, every 500 follows, I'm giving away any merch of anyone's choice. The subscriber goals are like every 50 subscribers. We are going to do giveaways for hoodies and stuff as well. So we just did the 5,500 follower goal that we hit, gave away a hoodie. So that was pretty cool. And yeah, I mean, current sub goal is set to 150 because we hit the 100 subscriber goal. So I bump it up by 50 every time. So it's currently just at 150. So, but I mean, ultimately, it would be cool to get partnered. The main reason why I'd want to get partnered on Twitch is for the, what is it, encoding? Is that what it's called?
Transcoding.
Transcoding, that's what it is. Yeah, so that way my channel, people can choose what video quality they want. So, some people could be watching on like their mobile phone from, their mobile internet and might not be able to watch my stream in 1080p, 60 frames per second, which is what I stream in. Twitch has transcoding that allows you to change the video quality so you can watch it in whatever quality you can. And with affiliates, not everyone gets the transcoding. Yeah. So being a partner, you get automatic transcoding all the time. So it'd be nice to have transcoding all the time. So that way people that may not have super great internet, or if they don't have the ability to watch on like Wi-Fi or whatever, anybody can watch the stream. And then another thing is just for more emote slots, just being able to have tons of emotes. Like I would love to have so many emotes that people can use in the chat and stuff like that.
Nice. Well, can you take us into a dive of like how far away you are from getting partnership? I know that you need to have at least 75 concurrent or average viewers.
Hmm.
I think you need a set number of subscribers. Is that right? Or
No, I think they currently just do based on like viewer count. I think there's some other smaller things that you need to hit, but those things I already have done. So currently for partnership, you need to stream for 25 hours in this is in a 30-day period. You need to stream for 25 hours, which in the past 30 days I've streamed for 142. So
you're good.
definitely over that. And then stream on 12 different days within the 30-day period, which I've streamed for 24 of the 30 days. So
Yeah, only
I have those
taking
two.
Saturdays and Sundays off, really.
Right. So then the average viewers is the biggest thing, and it's pretty much the only thing that holds majority of Twitch affiliates back from getting partnership. You don't even need any amount of subscribers. So like as an affiliate, you could literally have 2,000 subscribers, and Twitch would be like, "Yeah, sorry, we're not giving you affiliate."
Oh no.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter how many subscribers you have, it just comes down to average viewership. So right now, at the current time with 142 hours streamed, I average around 20 viewers, 20.25, and the goal is set to 75. So Twitch wants you to have over 75 average viewers.
Well, I definitely think your average viewer base has gone up over the
Yeah.
last 3 or 4 months. So
Mm.
I wonder, do you think they take your entirety streaming like history into the average count of
No,
75
so
viewers?
it's just averaged from the last 30 days.
Okay.
So that's it says right here that I've streamed for 142 hours, and during that 142 hours of streaming, my average is 20.25. So some days I could be up to like, 40 or whatever, or when I do like community nights, it's off my normal stream schedule, or when I do random streams on the weekend and stuff like that, I don't pull many viewers because they're just like random streams that I do. And like I said, I personally don't care about my average viewership right now. So that's why I'm just willing to stream whenever I want to and not like sacrifice the average viewership, if you will,
Yeah,
because I'm not even worried about it.
that's true. A lot of people they get trapped in the numbers, really.
Yeah,
The
for
average
sure.
viewers. Like I know when I was first starting out, I did tons and tons of research on which game to stream and at what time to stream it.
Hmm.
And like really what you should be concentrating on is your brand and how you want to run your stream to begin with, regardless of
Right.
the game. Although the
Yeah.
game is definitely important at the end of the day.
Right. Yeah, it's just all about having fun, man. If you're not having fun streaming, then why are you doing it?
That's a good point. So are there any type of advice you would give for anybody that's trying to become a streamer or a content creator?
um Man, who's that? You're gonna know exactly who I'm talking about. They say just continue to put out content. Don't care about is it Gary V?
It's Gary V.
Gary V.
Gary Vaynerchuk. I think that's how
Yeah.
you pronounce his last name. Yeah,
Yep,
he
just put out the content and just keep putting out content. Worry about yourself and don't worry about what other people think or what they say. Cause I mean, I started out, this content grind from March. I was worried all the time about what content I was putting out and just like scared to put out content because I've lost plenty of like followers on Twitter and stuff just like from constantly tweeting out my stream or like constantly posting silly little clips and stuff. And people don't want to see it. But those aren't people that should be following you to begin with. So you shouldn't worry about losing those followers. So just
that's
post your
true.
content.
That's true. To piggyback on that, I recently watched a video and they were talking about how there's this phantom following that people can have, especially from the haters. So you'll have people that will not subscribe to you, will not follow you, but they want to know what you're doing. You know what I mean? Like let's say you do something quote unquote controversial, something that they don't like, they'll unfollow you or unsubscribe from you. But the moment you they're still kind of watching because they want to see is there going to be a I'm sorry video coming out? You know what I mean? So they'll check in every periodically. They're not following. They don't count as the number, but they count as the view.
Right.
And
for sure.
Have you had to deal with any really negative comments or haters in general, and how would you deal with them?
Well, I think I actually just looked at it the other day. I think I've got about 140 people blocked on Twitter, just in general.
No.
And a lot of muted accounts. I just block out the haters, man. I don't have time for it. Nobody's got time for it. I mean, if I just saw someone tweet on Twitter today, they were saying I might just stop using Twitter because of how negative my feed is, and it's like you can clean that up. Like I was at that point too with Twitter where I was just like, you know what, there's so much negativity, I'm not going to use it. And then I was just like, wait, that's like my number one like social network that I use. Why would I get rid of it because of some other people? You know? Yeah. So it was just like there's so much customization you can do with Twitter. You can mute words. So if you don't like certain words or if you don't like reading about certain things, just mute the word. If you see people that are constantly tweeting negative stuff, you can either mute them, or if they're directing it at you, then you just block them. So, I mean, the way that I deal with all that stuff, just either mute or block.
Yeah, that's a good way to deal with it. There's there's two famous content creators, and they have two different types of ways to look at it, right? One of them, who pretty much everybody knows, is Logan Paul, and his mantra is like he views people that hate him as much as he views the people that love him. So like the people that go to every one of his YouTube videos or go to his tweets, anytime he posts something, there's like he just has a ton of haters. But what the haters don't realize is that they're just building on his brand and recognition and engagement. So the more they hate on him, the better he becomes, you know?
Right.
It's just like it's an engagement game. The only way for a hater to truly win is to ignore the person that they hate. That's the only way. And just hopefully they disappear. The other one that I read that or I think it was in a podcast segment, and it was from Asmongold. Do you know who he is?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's an awesome guy. Yeah,
super. I would argue he's probably one of he has a very strong ethical and moral pillar, you know what I mean? Yeah, standard. And he was talking about how he hates reading his YouTube comments when they're bad or Twitter comments. And it's because when he reads it in his head, it's like the negative feed, it's in his own voice because he's reading it to himself. So after a while, he felt as though like if you keep reading the negative comment over and over again, you feel as though like you're saying it to yourself. Yeah. And that can really mess up your mental. So it's one of those weird situations where you need to balance the two types of perspectives. Keep them around, but don't let them affect you. But if you can block them, then block them.
Yeah, I think I'm more so like Asmongold in that aspect, because I did watch that and I totally understand 100% where he's coming from, because yeah, like you said, you're reading that in your own voice and it makes you feel like those words might be true, and it's like super painful to read that and see stuff like that. So that's why out with the haters. I literally wouldn't be able to be like Logan Paul and read all that stuff about yourself unless it's like funny, like meme worthy stuff. That's not like terrible, but like when you're just reading like straight hate, like that hurts. So
yeah. And it's sad too that some people go out of their day to try to make somebody feel bad. It says more about them than it does about the other person.
Exactly. Yeah, people will go to great extents just to try and like ruin someone's day, and it's like you could be doing something a lot more productive with your day than this. Like what?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So
That's
I don't want to keep you much longer. It's almost dinner time here. So
yeah.
where can people find you and at what times?
So I stream every Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And then I will be posting YouTube content whenever possible. The Twitch link will probably be in the description or wherever, but
Yep.
actually all the links, thanks to Mr. Mad Mike. But twitch.tv/CrazyMiller. If you search Crazy Miller on pretty much anything, you'll find me. The YouTube, Twitter, Twitch. I do have a Facebook, but I don't post often on it. Same with like Instagram, stuff like that. They're my main forms of social media and networking and stuff is the Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, and then our Discord, which we have 250 plus members in our Discord. So feel free to join in any of those. And yeah, I'm going to be trying to post more YouTube content. I started doing vlogging, but I kind of stopped vlogging temporarily just to make sure that our whole family knew about South Carolina first before posting on YouTube, because my mom does watch my YouTube, so that would have been pretty bad. She goes
Yeah,
on YouTube to find out that we're moving to South Carolina.
that would be horrible if
Right.
she's anything
So,
like my mom.
yeah, it would have been really bad. So, I'm gonna be posting more YouTube content, not just like Halo gameplay, but like I said, more vlogging and stuff like that. And then Twitch is pretty much the main social media. Or did I say Twitch? Twitter. Twitter is
Yeah,
the
Twitter.
main social media. And yeah, you can come hang out live 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. So
Nice. I'll make sure to let everybody know, post all the links in the description. And overall, thanks for coming on the podcast. And I'd love to have you on again.
hey, thank you, Mike. It's been a pleasure, dude. Appreciate you.
Hearts.
Thank you so much. The hearts of the chat. You know, my daughter would love that. And
Definitely. And the dabs.
got a dab out.
Nice, man. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate you.